Welcome to the crash course on meditation one-on-one. I'm meditating for a couple of years now, and recently, after I started my daily meditation practice, my life has improved tremendously, and that's why I decided I want to get way more people on the train of meditating regularly because the benefits are mind-blowing. That's why I put together this workshop. And it's going to be an overview of what benefits you can get from meditation. And there's going to be neuroscience and a lot of interesting things coming up. So before we begin, some logistics. It's going to be approximately 90 minutes. So if you want, you can take pen and paper or your journal so you can take notes and note down also your questions if you have any, because we will take time after the workshop to address whatever concerns, questions you might have. So that's about it. And that's the informal start, which will be cut out of the recording. And let me now share the presentation. This is the first time I'm doing that, so I will ask you for your help. So can you see the presentation? If you can unmute yourself and just let me know.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I think we may
and I'm going
to slideshow because we can see the whole everything.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay now. It's
Yep.
all fine the way it is. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Lucas. So again, welcome to the crash course on meditation. Today's focus is going to be meditation as a tool for stress management. You will learn why do you need to meditate, how does meditation affect your nervous system, what's happening inside on the biochemical level when you meditate. And then we'll also discuss how it actually feels like when you enter this blissful state of meditation. Many people actually believe that they meditate or they can't meditate because thoughts are blasting through their mind, but we'll bust some myths about what meditation is and what it's not. We'll also cover different meditation practices and what to do when you want to start meditating. So my name is Simona. I'm a spiritual life coach and Himalayan breathwork, meditation, Kriya, and yoga instructor. How did I get here? It's been a very long journey. I covered it yesterday on my live stream on Instagram, but I guess nobody has seen it. So I will just briefly take you through my journey. I was somewhat well aware and clairvoyant child, and my grandpa was guiding me towards spiritual path. He was teaching me how to master the awareness, how to work with energy, how to astral travel, how to heal with hands. I could see things that people could not see. I would see people who were not present. Later I learned that they were like ghosts or souls or spirits or something, but then this gift has receded. And then I lived my life. Normally, spirituality was somewhere in the background and I never really cared about it. I was a corporate ladder climber. I was working for a corporation and I thought that this is it. This is my path. I'm going to dedicate my whole life to business. So this is what I did, but I overworked. And on the verge of burnout, I actually quit because it was unbearable for me. And I put my life back in order. However, I started freelancing and then I burned out completely because on paper, I had it all. I was traveling internationally in business class. I had my driver. I was earning a lot of money. I was, like my Instagram seemed awesome on the outside. But deep down, I had no idea who I am. I could not sleep. I was driven by high functioning anxiety. That means like the only way of me getting something done would be to have this massive stress of like, what if people are going to judge me? What's going to be failing as a consequence of me not doing certain things, and creating all those different scenarios in my mind of what can go wrong if I don't perform. So I was compensating with my high performance, the lack of confidence, the lack of awareness of who I am, or what truly makes me happy. I was going towards drugs, alcohol, superficial sex, and basically all the distractions in the world, just not to pay attention what's happening inside. But whether I liked it or not, I started noticing patterns in my life, how different lessons or experiences that were extremely unpleasant were coming back to my life, but more and more extreme when I did not pay attention to them. So I burnt out. My entire life went to shit. My family broke apart. I was oscillating between anxiety and depression. My digestion was not working. I could not get out of the bed. I was driven by caffeine or taken down by weed. Without those substances, I would not function for years. So it was a proper burnout, but I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. And I booked a one-way ticket to Sri Lanka and Himalayas, where I actually started meditating and doing different spiritual practices that helped me to return to my inner nature, to who I am, and realign me back to what I was always meant to be doing. So in my journey, I learned different meditation practices. I went to silence retreats for 8-10 days, where I would meditate for 8 to 10 hours a day. Leaving the retreat, I would feel so blissed out and grateful for life that my idea of fun activity in the off time would be to meditate 4 to 6 hours. I did not need to sleep. I looked younger than any time before, and I was just happy. Then I had my weight down, and now I returned back to somewhat normal state. And right now I'm leading others on their spiritual journeys, guiding others through meditation practices, breath work, kriyas, and deep inner work. So in my experience, I started meditating like 10 years ago. I tried different things, but I started to truly understand what meditation is just this year when I discovered one meditation technique, but I'll be talking about it a bit later. So when I was saying that I was this meat suit of stress driven by anxiety or depression, I was not a fun person to be around. My colleagues described me as bossy bitch, and I would snap out extremely easily. I would get triggered super fast, and even the tiniest things that people take normally, I will just blast out entirely. So then I learned that we don't act in accordance to what we know, because I read all the self-development and leadership books, but I did not act like that. We act in accordance with the baseline level of stress in our nervous system. So stress can actually be good, because we know that when we are exercising heavily, that's stress for our body. If we go into the cold water, like now the cold exposure and Wim Hof's breathing method became kind of like famous and sought after for its health benefits, it's also huge stress for our body. When we are extremely excited about something, it's also a stressful response of our body. So stress as such is not a bad thing, because there can be all stress, something that motivates us to do something. But when we are under chronic stress, then it becomes toxic for our body. So to my client, I like to say that there's no problem or no stressful situation, only stressful response to a given situation. So those are events that demand our time and attention, and they are burning our adaptation energy. Adaptation energy is something that allows us to deal with life. We've got limited resource that we are wasting or allocating to different things. Like you can't plan entire life because shit happens. So sometimes you need to deal with things, unexpected things, and your adaptation energy, your life force, is actually helping you to deal with those things. But if you're under stress, your adaptation energy is very low. If you're not dealing with the stress as is appearing in your life constantly, so for example, when you have a stressful situation and you don't deal with it in this present moment, it gets stuck in your body. So there's something like backlog of stress that needs to be released, and if it's unaddressed, it's getting stored in our body. So if you have effective tools to manage your stress and anxiety, even the biggest setbacks can become opportunities for growth and innovation. And that's why many of the high performers actually start meditating, because everything just starts to be more insightful. But let's go back to stress. So what is stress? Let me just put this down. Stress is survival mode, is a bodily reaction where a part of our brain, amygdala, that's our survival, our an animal instinctual self resides there. So it gets activated, and there's chemical cocktail being released to your body. And stress had its purpose, because back in the days, you're walking around and you're seeing this beautiful creature. This one actually looks cute, but the saber-toothed tigers were a threat, or bears, or wherever in the world you were. So when we are faced with a massive threat, this instinctual part of us actually activates. It releases cortisol and adrenaline, and the stress hormones, into our body. That signals to our digestion that you don't need it right now. You're in survival. Focus on yourself. You don't need to care about digesting that apple that you just ate. You just need to run. So all the blood gets from your brain, because you don't need brain. You don't need you don't need to think. It gets into your limbs, because you need to run and save your life. And this cortisol and adrenaline, the stress hormones, they are acidic in nature. So it creates acidic response in your body. Because if you get bitten by this saber-toothed tiger and he's a foodie, you will be disgusted, because the more acidic something is, the less tasty it is. So I guess that's nature's way of preserving our life. So acid goes to your skin, blood thickens, because you need to protect your internal organs. So if something happens, you don't want to bleed out. That's why the blood thickens. So some processes in your body slow down. Your vision, it's not longer looking all around and seeing the butterflies and rainbows. It's focused on the easiest way of escape. And also immunity shuts down, because if you're chased by a tiger, then nobody cares if you're dying of cancer and your body needs to heal from that, because if the tiger eats you, you have no cancer to worry about. So there's plenty of processes that happen to your body as a result of stress. Actually, from those data, this is something like stress is helpful in saving our life, in giving us this opportunity to fight the tiger or flight or run away, or we tend to freeze. And many times, by the way, I thought that I'm a procrastinator. No, I was just on such high level of stress that my brain just froze and I couldn't get anything done. So it was actually a survival response of my biology. So short-term stress is amazing for our body, but if we are dealing with stress for a prolonged time, it gets toxic, because yeah, you kind of need your digestion, you kind of need your immunity, you kind of need your blood to circulate normally. You don't want acid in your skin, because that's what creates aging. And well, not so many people like aging, or especially if they are not aging gracefully. So stress does different things to our body that we don't necessarily want. What is stress? I don't know how well aware are you of the nervous system. We've got two parts of the nervous system. One is the central nervous system. It's the director. So it's the brain, it's the brainstem that connects the brain with the spinal cord. And that's the main part of who you are, of your mind. And then you get the peripheral nervous system that is the link to the outside world, which is then split into somatic nervous system, which carries information like, for example, I see light, I touch something. So all those little impulses go to the brain or to the central nervous system through somatic nervous system. And then this is something that we can, and it also controls voluntary movement. So if you want to run, if you want to hold a glass of water, we can do that through this part of our nervous system. Then you got the autonomic nervous system, which regulates the involuntary bodily processes such as breathing, digestion, fighting inflammation. Those are things that actually science believes for quite a long time that you can't really control. Wim Hof and his guinea pig approach to life actually proved that with certain practices, you can influence your autonomic nervous system, and that is your switch between the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. When your sympathetic nervous system is activated, that's this fight, flight, or freeze response of your body. That's the stressful response. We need this at times to save our life, to do certain things, to be more active. And then you've got the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for digestion, procreation, regeneration of our body. And the thing is that when cortisol is in our body, so the sympathetic nervous system is on overdrive, then the parasympathetic nervous system is switched off. Like they can't really work simultaneously. So if we don't have enough decompression from the stress, then we are not digesting food well. And we all know, well, maybe not all, but many people know that your digestion is directly related to your moods and how you're feeling throughout the day, your brain activity. So your immune system is failing to work. And this is not something that you want for prolonged times. So what is, okay, one more slide. I mentioned before that there is backlog of stress. If you do not decompress, the chemicals are released in your body, and if you don't release them, don't integrate them, or get rid of them in the present time, it stays in your tissues. So within 30 seconds of fight or flight response, the adrenaline and cortisol are detectable in the blood. And within 10 minutes, the same acidic stress chemicals are present in bone marrow. So even in your bones, like your entire body is taking notes of all the stressful situations you've been in. It's 10 minutes after a stressful response. If it's for 10 minutes, it gets stored in your body. So imagine if you're under chronic stress, what it does to you. Your entire body, you're basically just like walking backlog of stress. So the issues are in the tissues, and those things need to be released. Another thing with stress is, what is stress costing you? I know damn well that I compensated for the stress with other things that were not really helpful for me. I would drink on all the business trips to build connections, smoking occasionally as well. As I mentioned, I was smoking weed later on all day, every day for years. I didn't go to any therapy. I don't like shopping, so this was not really my thing. But I remember when I was working for my first corporation and I was complaining about the lack of money and that I never have money, my colleague is like, what? Like every month you're somewhere. I'm like, yeah, because if I did not book that flight ticket somewhere and go and recharge, I would go nuts way earlier than after 3 years after I quit, that I quit in the end. So medications, are you taking any pills, anything for your stress? If you're stressed, are you missing things? Are you missing opportunities? Are you forgetful of the things that you believe that are important for you, but your actions don't really align with your belief? And are you getting sick quite often? So really, now take a screenshot or take a note. And really, I invite you to write down what is the actual cost of stress in your life. Just write down how much are you spending every month on those things just to deal with the stress that you're dealing with. And it might be job, but it might be family situation. It might be the relationship. It might be the financial struggle, whatever it is that you feel stressed about, what is it costing you? So just take a note. So what is the solution? Body is perfectly capable of homeostasis, of becoming back to balance. It can heal itself. It's a miraculous machine that we live in. But if we are in a stressful state, the body cannot repair itself. So to get rid of the backlog of stress, which actually gets released in when you're in deep rest, is releasing all the stress from your system, from your tissues. So you just need to get into this relaxed state. Well, how? You guessed it. Since you're on this workshop, you know that one of the ways that you can de-excite your nervous system is meditation. Before we dive into that, I would like to talk about 4 states of consciousness. The first one is wakefulness. It's when you're conscious and you're noticing things through your senses. You can perceive things either like when you got your eyes open, you're mostly focused, you've got exteroception active, which is being aware of all the things outside in your visual side. Everything outside of your skin. For example, right now I'm sitting on a chair, so like this impulse or this signal is coming from the sitting bones and the muscles to my brain, like, hey, you're sitting, but I'm not really aware of that because I'm paying attention to giving this presentation. But my body still keeps track of that. My perception of it is kind of there, but my awareness and my attention is not. And then you've got interoception, which is anything on the skin or below the skin. So when we close our eyes, we actually shutting down the perceptions of everything, what's happening around us. We are actually signaling to our brain, hey, you're safe. Since you're closing your eyes consciously, you're not scared of being chased by a tiger, so all is well. And then all your focus comes to inside, and now I'm more aware of the fact that I'm sitting on the chair and how I'm feeling, what's going on inside. Wakefulness is represented by beta brainwaves. Those are high-paced or heightened state of alertness, logic, and critical reasoning. This is a state in which majority of us are functioning all the time, or basically anybody apart from the advanced meditators or monks who live in normal world, living a normal life, paying bills. So we all need brainwaves, but there are lower and higher brainwaves. In the higher brainwaves, we are in the stressed situation. So we are feeling more anxiety, more restlessness, but the normal beta brainwaves are essential for our normal functioning. Another state of consciousness is dream state. This is the subconscious, and it's actually an altered state of consciousness. It's when the body sleeps, but the mind is engaged in inner visual imagery and symbolism. This is something that many people who try psychedelics, included, can report different mandalas or colors appearing in their mind. But also when you're drifting off to sleep, you might see some visions. Your brain is making funny connections. And yeah, dreams. We all have dreams, you know how it is. Those are the alpha brainwaves. And that's when your mind heightens your imagination, visualization, memory, learning, and concentration. So it's taking all the inputs from the memory and creates something super creative and funky many times. So it lies at the base of our consciousness and conscious awareness, and it is the gateway to the subconscious mind. Then the third state of consciousness, and many people believe that we only have 3 states of consciousness: wakefulness, dream state, and deep sleep. So deep sleep is when you're unconscious. You have no knowing that you are there. Your nervous system is doing its job, so your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, and your body is repairing and restoring, and despite the consciousness is there, you are not aware of that. So that's also where your sub-awareness is residing. That's the part of you that you don't know. And many people don't know who they are. I love this quote. I had it a couple of days back on my meditation app. And it was something in the line of, to know yourself, you must get rid of the illusion that you actually do. And this is something we need to enter this unconscious state somehow consciously, to be aware of what's residing inside, because as I mentioned, the stress or the trauma or whatever we experience is stored in the tissue and it's still influencing our life. I'm just moving. And then we've got transcendence. This is the fourth state of consciousness. Many people or scientists didn't even notice or didn't know that there's a fourth state of consciousness, but after they started studying meditators, they realized that wakefulness, dream state, neither deep sleep describe what is happening to the brains of the meditators. That's why they call this state transcendence. So it's a fourth state, which is extraordinary perception beyond all the three states that I just mentioned. This is where the deep rest is happening. This is the deep meditation, which is actually a sustainable and renewable source of energy within yourself. And all yogic practices, so I've been studying yoga for a couple of years now, all the yogic practices actually lead us to this state, this meditativeness. Your body is asleep, but your mind is widely awake. It's actually a point or a portal through which you can access higher states of consciousness. It doesn't happen like right away, but slowly you will develop planetary, cosmic, or divine consciousness. I don't want to go into spirituality or those aspects as much. It's just being trained in transcendent state of consciousness actually allows you to expand your awareness and to hold more things and more aspects of reality within your field of perception. Transcendence is also, like in neuroscience, we could call it theta brainwaves. It's known also as twilight state, which is the time as you drift off to sleep from alpha level and arise from the deep sleep from delta level. So it's this sense of deep spiritual connection to yourself, to oneness, and you experience with visualizations, great inspiration, profound creativity, exceptional insight, and this bliss. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Many geniuses, is that the word, who lived back in the days, they used this fourth state of consciousness to develop the greatest methods or theories. We've got our tools in the world right now, or not right now, but one of the greatest men alive, Einstein, Da Vinci, Tesla. They barely slept, and instead they were somewhat meditating or taking naps to actually get into this transcendence state of consciousness where this deep, profound wisdom and inspiration resides. So I described what meditation can be like. It's actually this transcendent state. But the point of meditation is not to get better at meditation. The point of meditation is to get better at life. So I tried this. You might say, I tried this, but it is not working. Stick with me. Yeah, I'm going to get to that later. Because many people have it wrong that meditation is when you calm your mind and you empty your mind. This is bullshit. Like, it doesn't work like that, because your mind thinks involuntarily the same way as your hair grows involuntarily, your nails grow involuntarily, unless consciously, you're breathing involuntarily. Like, your body's intelligence knows what it's doing. So mind's intelligence knows what it's doing, and that is, or doesn't know. And those are the thoughts that arise in your consciousness. So you can't really get better at meditation. You can only use the meditation to get better at life. Okay, so what are the benefits of meditation? why would you show up regularly? It can strengthen areas of your brain responsible for memory, learning, attention, and self-awareness. This practice can also help with calming down your sympathetic nervous system, and you will feel more relaxed and get more done. Your creative abilities will go through the roof, and over time, your presence or your ability to enter a present moment instead of future tripping or being stuck in the past can strengthen, and you will be here and now. And when you're here and now and you're not thinking, you're not stuck in the past or the future, you're happy because there's no problem. So I invite you to try this. So meditation, you can think of it as a date with your mind where you're getting to know it, because we believe that we know what's going on inside of our mind, but we are so unaware. And despite I'm meditating for 10 years, 3-4 years intensely, last year, absolute intensity, I'm learning more and more and more and more, and it's a never-ending process. So get curious. And when you apply curiosity instead of being stressed by your own stress, that's when your life can actually improve. One corporation, I'm going to share with you the result of one study. So it's one of the biggest insurance companies, Aetna. They offered mindfulness course to its workforce, and all over a quarter of its 50,000 employees actually showed up. And after a couple of months, they did study, and they found out that the meditators reported 28% reduction in stress level. They 20%, so 1/5 of everybody who started meditating, who knows whether they did it every day or not, they reported improved sleep quality, reduction in pain. And from the business point of view, each person got extra hour a week of productivity. We all know that 8 hours a day is not 8 hours of productive work, but when it comes to productivity itself, it's 1 hour extra of productivity. And in the end, why did the company do that? It allowed them to save $3,000 per employee per year as a result of adopting meditation. Because when the person is not acting from the space of being stressed and survival, when they're only focused on themselves, because as I mentioned, like your vision narrows down, you're only thinking about yourself. When you're calm and your sympathetic nervous system is activated, you're more prone to making connections and thinking creatively. But that's not the only thing. So meditation actually supports neuroplasticity. It's a fancy term that scientists use for basically the brain's capability of changing its structure. So with meditation, you can switch on and off certain areas of your brain. So each meditation has a different effect. But in the end, like those people who practice any kind of mindfulness practice, the MRI scans showed that after only 2 months of regular meditation practice, there were visible changes in the structure of the brain. So the main increase happened in corpus callosum. It's actually the bridge or that part of your brain that connects the left part, the analytical, and the right part, the intuition, inspiration, connectedness, creative problem solving. So the left and right hemispheres are being connected with corpus callosum. With meditation, it's like taking your brain to the gym with meditation, and you're strengthening this connection. And if you read about what connects like high intelligence people, is that their corpus callosum is actually greater. They can make connections easier. There's greater communication between left and right hemispheres. So nature likes harmony. And since we're like, if you're in a corporate environment where you're driven by stress and anxiety and deadlines and bosses and stressful situations, then, and also give me numbers, do this thing, you need to be in constant analytical state of mind, you're actually putting more emphasis on left side of the brain over the right one, where the intuition and creativity and creative problem solving actually reside. So you're focusing too much on the logic and you're not stepping into the wisdom and the creativity and connecting the dots. So since nature likes harmony, it wouldn't make like brain 50-50, right? If you're going to be using 90-10. So with meditation, you're actually harmonizing the energy between those two hemispheres. Another change that happens with meditation is that insula, which is your empathy center in the brain, it communicates with the prefrontal cortex, which is right behind your forehead. And that is the part of the brain which processes the information. So in human terms is that you get more compassion. You're able to sense the emotions and evaluate what's worth your attention or not. And you're tapping into the inner calm and love within you, or this intuition of, yeah, like there's this problem, but the problem is not us. It's like us two people against the problem, not us against each other. So with insula and prefrontal cortex connection, like because it communicates way stronger, then it creates more neural pathways between those two parts, hence creating more compassion. Also, amygdala, remember, is the part of your brain responsible for fight or flight response, which signals to your body like, hey, we're under attack. Let's put some cortisol and adrenaline in your blood so you can save yourself. So amygdala shrinks, which means that this fearful response is getting less as well. You're able to withstand different situations without having a fight or flight response to that. And also brainstem expands. In brainstem, that's where the dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals of happiness, love, and contentment originate. So you feel happier. So this is what's happening with your brain as a result of meditation. Another aspect is that there's evidence that regular meditation actually makes your brain up to 20 years younger than your calendar age. So there's plenty of benefits. What is actually the point of meditation? Well, through meditation, you're cultivating your awareness to the subtler level of consciousness or of reality. You're also getting in touch with the unconscious and the subconscious if you can go deep enough. But in generic terms, like point of meditation is to work with your awareness and cultivate it. work with it. As a result, your meditativeness, so the state of being or the quality of presence in your waking life, will be more dominant in your life. You won't have to close your eyes and sit in meditation for you to be meditative. You can be meditative while doing different practices, washing dishes, commuting, doing ordinary things. So the sense of presence is going to increase. And another point of meditation is integration of life, because life happens and we are here to learn, to grow, to expand. And when things happen, we need to actually extract the learnings for us to move forward, not to repeat our mistakes all over again. I'm going to be deep diving into the benefits of meditation. So I'll take them one by one. The first one is improved sleep. As I mentioned, your body holds a backlog of stress. So if you're not the stressing, or let me begin again. So there's this backlog of stress. And when you sleep, that's deep rest for your brain, and your body can actually detox and release the stress. But if you don't get proper sleep, enough sleep, then your body doesn't know how to detox that stress from your body. And when this goes for way too long, people who are under chronic stress can't fall asleep. I could not. I would get high all the time or just do different substances just to calm myself down, to be able to switch this machine off. I would wake up in the middle of the night because I thought about the deadline. I would not have to set an alarm because a panic attack would wake me up. Perfect, right? So with meditation, the first thing that you will notice, even after 2 weeks of practice, is that your sleep will improve. And what's amazing, there's been a study done with Ziva meditation students. It's a similar practice to what I'm practicing or what I'm teaching my students. And that is, the sleep cycles, how it happens. It's like 90 to 110 minutes, I believe, is when you go from REM, so rapid eye movement, barely sleeping, and you go deeper into deep sleep, and then you go again. So it's like a wave. This is what's happening. But for meditators, they are able to enter deep sleep and have prolonged periods of deep rest over the results of non-meditators. And I mentioned that during sleep, we de-stress. During meditation, we de-stress. What is the difference? During sleep, it's a deep rest for your brain, because nature needs to keep us alive, right? So it can switch off both our brain and our body. One of them always needs to be on high alert in case some danger would appear. So when we're sleeping, the brain regenerates, which is amazing. By the way, we've got a lot of inflammation in our brain, those who are under chronic stress. And it's important to sleep a lot, because that's how your brain actually repairs and heals. And meditation, so this transcendence state of consciousness, is deep rest for your body. So your body sleeps, but your mind is highly alert. But when you're in this meditation state, you're releasing bliss chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, anandamine, which alkalize your body and also regenerates your brain as a byproduct. But yeah, for now, the distinction is that you can de-stress both through your sleep and through meditation, but one is for your brain, one is for your body. So the stress release is the main benefit, which we already discussed. And as I mentioned, the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, that system gets activated, our digestion improves, and hence it has effect on all areas of our life as well. We've got lower stress hormones in the blood, lower inflammation, which is a healthier body. With inflammation, actually I mentioned that cortisol and adrenaline, I can pronounce it, norepinephrine, those are the stress chemicals which create alkaline, acidic environment in your body. And in highly acidic environment, inflammation thrives. And doctors and scientists actually prove that inflammation or chronic inflammation is where all those autoimmune diseases such as allergies or cancer or whatever biggest health issues we have in the world right now are actually caused by high inflammation levels in our body. So when we are meditating and we're releasing dopamine and serotonin, which are alkaline, they neutralize partly this acidic nature of the stress. So we are lowering the probability of having inflammation in our body. That's what makes us healthier. And part of the stress release is detox. I'll be talking about it a bit later, but this is something that many people don't talk about with meditation, because when you enter this state of deep rest and your body is kind of like, oh, okay, let's put all the stored stress out of your system, it can get tough. Like all the stored stress, all the traumas, all the hurt, all the pain that's been stored in your body, it's finally escaping. But it needs to become like, it needs to get to the surface, to our consciousness, to our wakeful state for us to be able to release it. So suddenly when people start meditating, they can say, it's not working because I'm thinking too much. Well, yeah, because it's your mental detox. Those are all the things that are causing stressful responses in your body, and the thoughts, they just want to be released. So just apply curiosity and stay present while the thoughts are being released from your system. All the pain, emotional pain, it also can come up. Many people experience heavy emotional detox, me included. I cried oceans out. So it's been tough because I had a lot of suppressed stress in my body and also the physical. So we can experience short spikes of pain or physical stress being released from our body. Meditation can improve our performance. As I mentioned, the left and right hemispheres get connected, and that's where we can connect our ability to analyze situation with different thoughts that we made on our learning journey called life, and we can have profound insight and intuition. You can up-level all areas of your life, because when you're suddenly not stressed, not operating from the survival mode, you're more aware of what's happening outside, you're more aware of other people, you're building more connections. The more connected you are to others, the better you feel. And because we are social animals, and you can up-level so many areas of your life, your job, your relationships, your creative activities, your travel experiences, for example. You'll be aware of way more details on your journeys. And the last one is the flow states. You'll be, through meditation, you will be actually training your system to enter the state in which you're becoming one with the activity and without any doubt. So when you're on a bicycle or you're doing a certain kind of sport, you and the activity are the same. So there's no distinction between you and what you're doing. And this is called flow state. Many people say that flow state is like meditation. In my definition, according to what we said, that meditation is when the deep rest actually happens. It's not. It's definitely a beautiful experience, and you get flooded with different bliss hormones, but it's not a meditation. But through flow states, you can think creatively and be more productive in your pursuits. Your focus will enhance as a result of meditating. So think of meditation as a gym for your mind. And according to the scientific research, what actually helps you to build that focus is when you lose the focus, you come back. And here, this is my beautiful visualization of what's happening. So take the white background as the entire consciousness, everything what is. And the purple is actually a scope or your awareness, something that you're aware of at a given time from all the things that are happening, right? And then your attention is this little turquoise spot. So you're just pointing a spotlight on a part of your awareness, and you can tune like into greater details. You can see the bigger picture, and you can actually play around with this spotlight and bring it anywhere within your awareness. And when you're losing, like you're focusing on something, then like a train of thought comes and you get lost. Then when you focus back, actually this focusing and defocusing is what trains your mind the most for focus. So not like being strongly the center of the perception, like what we're looking at, this dot, but when you notice that you're losing your focus, coming back is actually strengthening your muscles of focus. And also you'll be more present with what is. You'll have more awareness. So this like purple spot will also expand to things that are happening inside of you. When I was just chasing the next deadline, next goal, next distraction activity, I would not notice or consult with my body, like what's happening there? Like, am I even happy? How is my body reacting? Is this something which I'm doing for me, or am I doing it for others? Is it actually me, or is it my mom's belief system acting through me? And many people know that we just don't want to be like our parents, but the older we get, the more alike we are, right? And this is because we are being driven by the subconscious mind. So with meditation, you're bringing awareness. You're actually crossing through the barrier of your analytical mind, and you can enter your subconscious mind. That's where your programs and habits reside. So you can become aware of what drives you, what makes you happy, what beliefs are actually yours, what stories about yourself are truly yours, or whether it's coming from something that your classmate in the first grade of basic school told you. So all those little things, like our ego mind is actually a collection of all the traumas or coping mechanism that we gathered throughout our life, especially during our first 7 years. And those are our programs, those are our habits, and those are actually harder to change, especially if you're not aware of them. So with meditation, you're increasing your perception of the subtler aspects of who you are, of what you describe as me or myself. Also, with knowing that, yeah, I've got this program that when somebody tells me A, I snap, because this reminds me of that trauma when A happened for the first time. So while being aware of that, I create more space between me and the trigger and have more room to process the reality. And what I said now is, yeah, another benefit is being less reactive and staying in power of my behavior, of my thoughts, of my, not really of my thoughts, or of my reactions as a consequence of my thoughts or emotions. Why? Because the amygdala, the fight or flight response part of the brain, communicates with the prefrontal cortex, which is the director. So they start communicating, and you've got more control over how you respond to life. You can also detach yourself from your programs that are hidden in your subconscious, and you are detaching also from the conscious and subconscious memories. So, yeah, you'll have better mood. So I'll be happy when. This is a syndrome that so many people have. I'll be happy when I get this promotion. I'll be happy when I go there. In my case, I'll be happy when I'm in India. And then I'm like, I'll be happy when I'm in Bali. And then I'll be happy when I'm never happy, right? So I'll be happy when is an illusion, because if you're not happy right now, you're not going to be happy ever. So you need to find the source of fulfillment and happiness within you. And actually, there's been a study done, which is called Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind. And in that study, they found out that, you know, those moments when your monkey mind goes nuts and you're future tripping, you're in your past, you're like getting lost in thought, you're daydreaming, that's where your default mode network is activated. This is something that, yeah, it's just this inner chatter part of the brain. So when it's happening, like you've got way more energy in that part. And those who suffer from anxiety and depression have more activity in default mode network. With meditation, actually activity in this region of the nervous system is being shut down. So you're decreasing your inner chatter, your monkey mind, you're controlling it way better. And because, you know, like when you're happy and joyous, you're not thinking, you're just enjoying life. Like you're watching sunset, you're at a vacation in a beautiful spot, you're having dinner with an amazing person, and you're lost in conversation, and you're just fully there, fully present, you're joyous, like you're content with where you are. That's not when your mind is wandering all around. Of course, like it gets activated because when another person is talking, there's this sudden voice, and something. So like there's some kind of chatter, but this default mode network is not working on its own, just on high alert all the time. Its activity is reduced. Another aspect with benefit of meditation, of better mood, is that when we meditate, we change how we relate to our feelings, because we notice that the awareness of anger is not angry. The awareness of sadness is not sad, right? So when you meditate, you create the distance between you and the emotions, and then you notice like everything just comes and goes, and you stop associating or identifying yourself with those feelings and you change the relationship to them, like, okay, they are there, nice, cool, but I can choose how to respond to them. And you can always choose joy or happiness, right? So when you change how you relate to your own feeling, you also change how you relate to the world. So meditation teaches you also some world skills. Better sex. You would not probably know that it's one of the benefits of meditation, but it's definitely it. So when your body is more rested, you've got way more energy for getting steamy, and you're more present in what's happening. You're way more connected to your body. That's what's happening, right? In meditation, you're noticing what's happening inside. And when it comes to having sex, you suddenly know what makes you feel good, what's happening in your body, and you're acting through that. You're not acting through this like, oh, let's release the stress, but you're just there in the flow. You've got less stress in the body and mind. Your mind is not wandering all around because, like this parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, repair, and procreation. So it's the opposite of sympathetic nervous system. So when you're getting intimate with somebody, that's when many times thoughts might come up. And this is especially true for many women who can't orgasm because they are too lost in their minds, because suddenly, like after being in such deep states of stress, and they've got a huge backlog of stress, when they're getting intimate, that's when their parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, and their body's kind of like, oh, let me release those things. And the detox starts happening and they're not really enjoying the sex, right? So by de-stressing your body, you're able to enjoy sex way more. Also, you're feeling self-fulfilled in meditation, because that's when dopamine, serotonin gets released. So you feel happy on your own as well. And you don't need the other person for your own happiness. So neediness is not sexy, right? And when you are feeling content and confident with who you are, that's also how you show up. And your partner notices that. And you also have greater capacity for connection. As I mentioned, in the insula, the part of the brain which is responsible for empathy is activated and strengthened. So your capacity for connection with the other person and being intuitive of what they want is heightened. So you can enjoy way more fun under the sheets. Was this all? Okay. Mindfulness. I talked about meditation a lot, but many people mistake mindfulness for meditation. And what is the difference actually? So mindfulness is directed focus practice. So you're bringing awareness, is like this turquoise dot somewhere on your breath, on your body, on certain visualization, with eyes open, for example, on the flame, on sunset, on something, right? So your focus is directed somewhere. You're bringing awareness to the present moment. And mindfulness practice, it works immediately by putting it into this, or on the verge of this fourth state of consciousness. So you de-stress the body from the present moment. It's effective at handling stress right now, and it can be guided or unguided. But from my experience, even when it's unguided, my own mind is guiding that meditation. I mentioned those examples, and now I would like to highlight Vipassana meditation. This is not sensory. Vipassana is just one focus. Usually they focus only on this part underneath your nose and how the breath goes and the sensations that your breath creates. And imagine doing this for 10 days, 10 hours a day. It's hardcore training for your focus. And then another Buddhist practice is sensory meditation. And this is something that we can actually, practice later on, but that's when your microphones will go on. So I have you on the screen, but mostly I will just tell you right now, it's so how to remove stress from the present moment is when you close your eyes. So you just first focus on your breath, get in touch with your body, and then notice the sounds, the more prominent sounds that are outside the room, inside of the room, to the subtle sounds such as your breath or very subtle sounds. So you bring awareness to the sounds from the prominent to the subtle. Then your sight, yes, your eyes are closed, but when you close your eyes, you can actually notice different shades of light and dark. So you just notice what's there. Then you focus on your touch, like, for example, where your hands are resting. So bring awareness to how it feels. Then also, for example, your shirt on your skin, how does it feel? Again, from the prominent to the subtle, your taste and your smell. And after you go through all your senses, then you're bringing all those senses in your awareness at the same time. And this whole practice, it can last 1 minute, 2 minutes, but it's extremely effective at de-stressing you in the present moment. So just try it. It's a very simple mindfulness practice that you can do on your own. And for example, even like focusing on your breath. Next week, next Tuesday, I've got a workshop like this on breathwork, where I'll be teaching you different breathwork practices for de-stressing, for increasing in energy, decreasing your energy. So those are mindfulness practices because you're putting focus on something. And then we've got meditation. Meditation, there's no focus. It's actually releasing all the focus. It's surrendering to what is. But actually, this surrender, it's really weird word, especially for the driven goal-getters. Surrender is not like giving up and taking a passive role. It's actually just being in the present moment and to being aware of what's arising. So you're just there, you're humble in the sense that, yes, right now I dedicated this time for meditation. And I'm just going to surrender to what is. I'm going to notice and bring awareness to what's arising. So in meditation, you're allowing the body to enter deep rest and your mind is alert. It might take some time to enter in the beginning, but it's definitely doable. And yeah, there are plenty of techniques which you can use for that. In meditation, it's releasing not the stress from the present moment, but it's releasing the stored stress, the backlog of stress that you have in your tissues. So this is very effective. And when I was talking about benefits of meditation, I was talking about this practice, not mindfulness per se, but actual meditation. And here I'd like to point out that meditation is not something you do, it's a result of something that you do. Because when you put some kind of action, there's actually focus, right? So you want to do nothing, like just defocus, surrender. And how to get there? In yogic tradition, we use mantra. This is a word that's been hijacked by many people, like those esoteric or new age teachings. And they say, I am beautiful and I'm attracting abundance into my life. And they say that this is mantra. It's not mantra, it's an affirmation. Mantra is actually from Sanskrit, Man means mind, tra means vehicle. So it's basically and metaphorically, it's a car that's going to drive your mind to where you want it to go. In our case, it can drive you to silence, to this joyful feeling where you're having no need for thinking. So mantra that is used in the meditation techniques that you've got on the right are usually primordial sounds without any meaning, like subconsciously, or like their frequency, their energy, or how it makes us feel has a certain meaning for our body, but it has no intellectual meaning. And those mantras are usually given from master to the student. So I also have my own personal mantra that was given to me during my training. And I'm also giving people their personal mantras to practice with. And this tradition is maintained because the person who's meditating cannot have this primordial sound connected with anybody. It's their best hidden secret, something that they can be like during meditation thinking, oh, I told this mantra to this person, or it means this, and then all the associations come up. No, this is something that you can use to help you to get to the transcendental state of consciousness. So the different techniques, sattva meditation technique, that's the one where I'm trained at. It's breathwork, kriya meditation technique with roots in Yoga-Vedantic Himalayan tradition that roots thousands of years ago. So this is something that I'm using. But for example, I learned that Zen meditation is also using a mantra to get into a certain state of consciousness, or this deep meditation, rest. Transcendental meditation, you might know it from Beatles, who learned it and popularized it. They actually learned it in Rishikesh, where I studied as well. And transcendental meditation is just brand name for the technique with personalized or personal mantra. Qigong, it's, in the beginning you use focus, but then the energy on its own, you're just surrendering to it and noticing what's happening and charging yourself from inside out. And for example, sound bath meditation, where you're just lying down, you're surrendering, and you enter this weird drowsy state of consciousness where your body is undergoing such profound deep rest. So those are the examples of techniques that can get you to meditation. So how does meditation feel like? In the yogic tradition, we've got 4 stages. Pratyahara is the inward flow of attention. So we are drawing the attention from the external world to the internal. And it's those couple of seconds, maybe a minute, till we go inward. Then there's dharana. So we're creating a consistent flow of attention to a specific thing within consciousness. In our case, you're just allowing the mantra to rise in the consciousness, and that's the only attention that we are putting in, but it's not really there. Then it's dhyana, which is meditativeness. That's this bliss sensation when there's energy running through our body and we feel, like warmth is going all across our body, and it feels like somebody's hugging us, and it's deep, profound feeling of fulfillment and bliss. And when I say bliss, yes, it can be like, like when you orgasm and you get foodgasm or something, which is like so damn good, like you experience bliss. But bliss is actually contentment in a way that you're okay with what is. When you're in bliss state, it doesn't mean that you're not experiencing anger or sadness or fear. They are there, but you're okay with them being there because you're okay. You're breathing and you've got this, contentment. You're happy despite the adverse situation in your life. So as an example, I would say that when you're going to the gym and like you're putting super heavy weights, it's an extreme stress for your body. So your sympathetic nervous system is on high alert, your cortisol, your adrenaline levels are on high alert. Yet you're not erratic, you're not having like this uncontrolled freak out, right? You are in control. You know that, yes, buddy, I know you're going through stress, but I'm in control. I know what I'm doing. And you're just waiting till your body calms down, and then you go do another round of the exercise. And this is the same with life. When you're meditating and when a stressful situation or this fear or anger or whatever arises, you're staying in control and in the state of contentment and bliss of like, I've got it. All is well. So this is how meditation feels like, even during the detox, when those weird sensations or thoughts arise in our awareness, we're okay because we're safe, and all those happy chemicals get released in our body. Nature of the mind. The thoughts, I already mentioned that you can't stop your mind from thinking. And the thought, like the more you meditate, the more you will notice that all the thoughts have a beginning, middle, and an end. And this is, the more you meditate, the more impermanent nature of thoughts, feelings, emotions you will notice. It all come like waves in the ocean. So you're not getting dragged by them anymore because you know that, okay, now my mind is thinking this, but next second it's not going to be true. So you dissociate yourself from the mind and you're becoming okay with that. I forgot to put the slides, but Sattva meditation practice is, as I mentioned, the Kriya breathwork based Yoga Vedantic meditation technique that uses mantra to get you into transcendental state of consciousness. You actually do very simple breathing exercises to balance the energy between your hemispheres to energize your brain. Then you do Kriya 1. I can't actually teach it online to honor. I really can't. I'm just honoring the tradition of oral passing down of this wisdom. But basically, it's activating your prefrontal cortex and seizing all the sensations for you to be able to focus or defocus on meditation. And then you just allow your mantra to arise and you're entering meditation very soon after. As I mentioned, as a result, when you start meditating for the first 2 weeks, you'll be feeling extreme detox, emotions, thoughts that are distressing and unpleasant might arise. So how to handle it is get curious. Just know that they come like a wave and they are just, so it's a very good thing that they are leaving the body. Hence, you just be curious of what's arising. Oh, okay, this thing is there. I didn't know. Your memory from when you were a 3-year-old. Okay, didn't know you're there. Bye. So you just get curious. You learn and practice working with triggers. I wrote a couple of posts about it, but I also have an article on Medium where I went through the step-by-step process, how to work with triggers. Or you can find other sources as well, journal things out and have somebody to support you throughout the process, because memories that come up can be connected to a certain pattern or behavior that you're holding now, and it's disturbing your life. So just make sure that you have somebody to talk to when this heavy detox comes up. And this is the most important thing. Remember, you are not your mind, neither your thoughts, neither your emotions. They are just arising in the field of your consciousness. You are just noticing them. They are not you. It's okay. They will come, they will leave. So just wave them goodbye. Physically, like when your system goes into the sympathetic overdrive, you need to calm yourself down. There's plenty of breathwork practices. The first one, okay, let me see. So when your sympathetic nervous system is on overdrive and you feel anxiety, when you feel high stress, what you can do is do physiological sigh, which is you breathe in 2 times and the second time is very deeply. So it's like breathing in 2 parts, creating 1 big inhalation. Making sure that you fill in all the parts of your lungs, and then you slow down your exhale. This is the fastest way you can put your mind from, or your nervous system from the sympathetic one, from the amygdala reaction, fight or flight, to the rest and digest. So breathe in 2 parts. And exhale super slowly through your mouth, ideally. And that puts you instantly into parasympathetic nervous system, the calm, rest and digest phase. Drink more water than you think you need. Always drink more water because the toxins are getting released from your body. Exercise, sweat it out, and get lost in the nature. So this is something that you can do when you're feeling stressed or when you're dealing with the side effects of meditation. What do you need to start your meditation practice? Do you need incense? Do you need meditation cushion? Do you need, I don't know, a guru and you need to buy a new closet? You need to buy so many things because you want to start meditating? No. If you've got the time and space to think a thought, you have a time and space to meditate. Maybe you need a bit more time, but you can meditate anywhere. Even if you're commuting, if you're in metro, for example, you can take all the sounds. You can start with the mindfulness practice. So just noticing everything what's happening around you and then noticing all the sensations from all the senses at the same time. So integrating into your experience. And then you can use mantra, for example, so hum. This is mantra which has meaning. I'm not going to, well, it means I am in Sanskrit. And you can start experimenting with this mantra, or yeah, you can reach out if you want your own personalized mantra. But anyhow, you can definitely start with so hum and just allow this thing to appear in your consciousness. So you don't need anything. Where you are, you can meditate. Posture, sit straight. So your back should be straight to allow the energy to flow between your brain and your lower spine. And if you can't sit straight, cross-legged, you don't have to. You can sit on a chair. You can definitely have rest against the chair or wall or something. So support your back, but your head should be free. You're not going to fall asleep if your head is not touching anything. So you will get drowsy, you will get into meditation state, but you will be highly alert. So sit straight, back can be supported. You can start with 5 minutes. It's important to start. In my training, I was told oh, you need to do minimum 30 minutes. When I ask like, oh, can I do 25? No, do 28, right? So you can start with 5 minutes only, and then work towards 15 minutes 2 times a day to build this habit. If you do commit to 15 minutes 2 times a day, in 2 weeks, you're going to go through the detox, and then you will start entering the bliss field and happiness and joy and everything. So it's working really fast. I personally do 30 minutes in the morning, and I'm trying to implement also 15 to 20 minutes in the afternoon. Not doing it every single day, but my 30 minutes in the morning are non-negotiable, and I'm noticing differences in my life. Yeah, this bliss state is just cool to live in. Preparation. Ideally, you do this in the morning, the first thing upon awakening. So you wake up, make your bed, freshen up, drink a glass of water, ideally with lemon, make it a bit warm, not hot. But it's not necessary. I'm just sharing something that's working for me. But yeah, toilet, drink a glass of water, and sit for meditation, because that's when your brain is still in the slower brain waves and you can enter meditation faster. So start with doing 5 minutes. You can use the mantra so hum. And yeah, this is something that you can start experimenting with. So if you want to start, just start. If you need any guidance, I'm currently working with people one-on-one, and I intended to do Sattva meditation course, but I haven't felt the calling just yet. Maybe if there's enough people who would be curious, I would put something together to make it concise, or maybe do 3 days retreat. And yeah, so meditation, just start. Before I go any further, are there any questions? If you can unmute yourself or write the question in the chat. Okay. What does Soham do? Soham is meditation. So as I mentioned, mantra is a vehicle. It's something that transports your mind into this transcendental state, which, like, you're sitting with your eyes closed, you're doing your mindfulness practice for like 2 minutes, or breath work or kriya, whatever you want to get into the zone of this, like being in the present moment. And then you allow the mantra to arise in your consciousness. So you start repeating, so, and then the thoughts will come all the time, like, did I lock the door? Did I switch the lights off? Or what am I going to do today? You know, so it's just like your mind can start going to the train of thoughts that are happening naturally, but you will always remember, oh, I meditate now, come back to mantra. So what did my wife tell me that I need to do today? I should probably go to the store and get her something. Oh, wait, I'm meditating. So oh yeah, she told me to buy food for our dog. That's what I need to remember. And while I'll be there, I'm going to also get X, Y, and Z. So your mind will start going in different directions, but you use the mantra to bring you back into the present moment and to relax. You're like, okay, I'm meditating. Relax, surrender, repeat the mantra. And keep repeating the mantra for 15 minutes. Or like if you start with 5 minutes, it's for 5 minutes, you're remembering to repeat the mantra, and doing that, it's going to actually get you into that transcendental state of consciousness. And I would like to point out that you should not use the mantra as a baseball bat to actually be like, no, I can't think about this. Like, I don't want to have this memory. So hum. No, this is not what meditation is doing, because in meditation, you're just noticing, you're surrendering to what is, you're getting like aware of what's appearing in your consciousness. And you're using mantra to catch you deeper, to get beyond the analytical mind, like it was in that triangle, right? So you've got the conscious mind, which is like 5%, then you've got the analytical mind, and then you've got the subconscious mind. And mantra helps you to enter the subconscious mind when you repeat it. So I hope that I answered your questions. Anything else? Okay, beautiful. So I can go further. So I'm not doing the Sattva meditation course just yet, but what I'm doing is actually next month I'm launching Journey to Self, which is an online course that is an online adaptation of the successful retreat that I held in Bali this year. Instead of traveling so far and spending those 10 days with me, we will go over the contents of the retreat in the course of 7 weeks. So it's a 7 weeks intensive immersion with different meditations, breath work, kriyas, workshops to help you deal with all the detox that is happening. Because one thing is what meditation does really in terms of detox, breath work does it as well, but it gives you an extra layer of support for your nervous system to deal with the detox that is happening. So there's plenty of workshops, how to deal with fear, how to deal with emotions, how to work with your ego, how to do forgiveness work, how to empower your inner cheerleader over your inner critic, and noticing your inner dialogue, how it all relates to your childhood. And there's plenty of assignments and exercises for self-exploration. And it's basically everything that I've learned in my past 4 years of experience in those practices. For whom is this retreat? I also asked the participants who joined my retreat, and they said everybody, because everybody has hidden issues that they don't know about. Those are the subconscious programs and habits that we are not aware of unless we enter the deep sleep state consciously, or like we transcend the state. And also another response which I got was anybody who was under chronic stress, who doesn't feel happy, who feels lost. So if you've got some kind of inner struggle and you want to draw a thick line in your life, then Journey to Self can be a really good beginning. So if you want to prevent burnout, or you're already on the verge of burnout or fully in, and would like to return to peaceful life like you had when you were just a little kid, with sustained states of inner peace, ease, and contentment, then this program might be for you. There's plenty of Himalayan practices that I'll be guiding you through, including breath work and meditations. You will gain way more clarity and understanding of what's happening inside of you, where it has its roots, and how to release all those things that are hindering you. We'll heal those traumatized and stressed aspects of yourself and stabilize your mental health, I would say. So become content where you are and stabilize these emotional turmoil that you have. So there's plenty of video lessons, and every week there's going to be a meeting like this of 2 hours where I'll be guiding you through some theory, some practice, different kind of workshops. We'll be sharing what's happening in all our inner worlds. Of course, if you're open to share. There's guided meditation every week. There's guided integrated practice. So the breath work and kriyas. There's like 5 to 7 lessons or classes that you can learn from every week. But there's always one meditation, one integrated breathwork meditation and kriya practice. There's this call that we have, and some extra resources that you can use. Also, I wrote this 100 pages book, which you can download as part of the course. And of course, it's accessible on all devices. This, I think I'm going to skip. It's a video from the retreat. Actually, it's done. This is how the kriyas and breath works. Look. They're moving the energy. Okay, I'm going to stop it because it's not fluid. Anyhow, what the participants of the retreat said, this is actually my favorite because I value Neverin greatly. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's world champion in martial arts, and he's really top tier human being. And he said that this was the best decision he has made in the last 10 years. I remember him finishing the first breathwork practice, and he's like, wow, I'm so aware of all the little details. Look at the colors, look at the details. So, and that was the person who had zero experience with yoga, meditation, or breathwork before. And after first class, he already started feeling difference. So he also said that he discovered this state of bliss, and that it was something that he was missing all the time. He came because he was in search of happiness after being in prolonged states of stress before. And I remember at the last ceremony, he shared, I found happiness. It was within all the time. So yeah, this is something that you can find as well. Poi, she was burnt out and needed to reconnect with herself. And she did amazing job with deep, intense inner work and left committed to her growth and to change the life in a way that suits her. Shelby was going through personal relationship struggle, and she was a true warrior. So we created beautiful connection, and she was able to unearth different aspects of her that were holding her back and kept her in repeating certain patterns. So she was able to become aware of them, bring attention, and release at least part of them. But the work is always starting at the retreat. And that's also what the participants or my one-on-one coaching clients usually say, that, oh, I thought that I'm going to go through this program and it's going to be it. But it was actually beginning. So yeah, journey to self usually starts after the finish of this program. Vijay, Mr. He was in depression for 18 years and he finally felt happy. It was beautiful to observe his profound transformation from very cranky and negatively thinking person to somebody who contemplated love and joy within just 5 days, and his mindset completely shifted within a couple of days. So I'm extremely proud of Vijay's progress, and those people who came, their life changed profoundly, and that's why I want to bring this program to more people. And there's only 10 spots left. I don't want to make it a big course because I want to give personal support to everybody's internal processes and guide everybody, so to say, by hand, and help everybody to discover who they truly are and what truly makes them happy, and teach all the tools that help me on my journey to help others, because we are all here to walk each other home. So we are opening the door on the 7th of February, and the course, you can register till January 23rd, because then I will be having calls with everybody and we'll be choosing just 10 people who are suitable for this program. So the energy exchange is almost $500, but for the upcoming 2 weeks, you can still purchase this package for 7 weeks for $350, which is €50 per week of deep transformational work and lifetime access to all the practices and videos that will be available to you. So if you're ready to invest into yourself, then I'm inviting you to join this program. You can scan this QR code if you're curious, and then you can register on the link, or actually just connect through there to my Instagram, as I need to redo this registration flow of people. So yeah, stay connected. I hope you enjoyed this workshop, and I'll be happy to stay in touch. If you have any other questions, then hit me up, or yeah, just ask away now on Instagram a bit later. It's up to you.